Well, very good morning, guys. So fine. So last day, uh, last class we just been talking about our banking application, right? Yeah. Oh, I not save the code. C# docs. I missed it. I did not save the files. Okay. So let me summarize the things. So what do we want to develop? ATM application. Okay. So in the step one, we identified the entity. Who is the entity? Customer. In the step two, we identified the attributes. What are the attributes? Customer ID, name, and balance. Customer ID, name, and balance. Now coming to step three. What did we do? We created a table. What is the table? Customer. Customer is the table what we created. And after creating the table customer, we just have the columns. Customer ID, name, balance. Customer ID, name, and balance. Okay. Customer ID, name, and balance. They are the three columns what we have. Now inside of it, we started storing our data. Okay, some few records is stored in this. Then, like this, I stored some few records here. And then step 4, to work with that, I written the code in a class. I written the code in a class. How do we write the class? Public class. What is the name? Now inside of the class, we first declare the attributes of the class. Now, what are those? That attributes of the entity? Public int. First one, customer ID. Second one, name. Third one is the third one. These are the three things. Then what we have? One constructor. We defined a constructor to initialize all the fields. And what is it, guys? Array, no need to pass all the parameters. One parameter. What are the key parameters enough? The key parameter. What are the key parameter? Customer ID. So now, when you pass the key parameter, that's what this customer ID is required for execution of the whole class, guys. Every member of the class requires the customer ID. To deposit, you need a customer ID. For withdraw, you need a customer ID. For funds transfer, you need a customer ID. You need a customer ID for every activity. Because you need a customer ID for every activity, we are reading the connection string. We are reading the customer ID through the connection string. We are passing it through the constructor. And because we are passing it through the constructor, that gets used for all the methods in the class now. That's what you are making the class dynamic by passing it through constructor. Okay, fine. Now say this dot is equals to customer ID. Next, this dot name is equals to what? Load name from database table for the given customer ID. This dot balance is equals to load balance from database table for the given customer ID. This is what you're going to do now. You're going to load the name and we're going to load the balance from the database table. Clearer? Okay, and then to perform the transactions, we started defining methods in the class. What is the first thing? Public, like a bool, just taking a boolean value or no. Public double balance. Return type is double, guys. Return type is a double. Why? It has to return the balance. And remember, when you click on a balance inquiry in your, it won't ask you any information. Just when you click on balance inquiry, automatically it displays you the balance. It won't ask you to enter a PIN number, or it won't ask you to enter your customer ID, nothing. So no parameters are required for that. No parameters are required for that. What is the code? Simple code, return balance. Already in the last class we discussed like what is that? We can call the method by using the instance. C1.getBalance, get the balance of the first customer. C2.getBalance, get the balance of the second customer. C3.getBalance, get the balance of the third customer. Like this, it is going to get the balance of each and every customer now. Next, I wanted to define a method, public bool, what's it? Withdraw. And for withdraw, you require a parameter. What is that? Amount. What is the logic inside of it? Balance minus equals to amount. Next, update balance back to database table based on the customer ID. Based on the customer ID, update it. Okay. And same way, if at all you want to, next afterwards, what? If a success, if it is a success, what do you do? What success? Transaction success. What do you say? Return true. Otherwise, return false. Otherwise, return false. Deposit. Plus equals to amount. Balance plus equals to amount. Plus equals to amount. And here what do you say? Same again. And again we return the same here also. One more method like I shown you. What is that? Funds transfer. We need one more extra parameter. What is that? Destination ID. What destination ID? Target customer's ID. To whom you want to transfer his ID has to be given now. Destination ID. And how much amount you wanted to. Balance minus equals to amount. Update balance back to database table based on the customer ID. And one more thing I said to you. Update balance of target customer in database table based on the destination ID. Okay, we'll make it much more perfect when we go to database programming. Here I'm giving only an idea for you, that's all, how the coding will be present. I'm not giving you the complete code to you. That's why I did not print it in the notes also for you. The only thing is I'm giving an overview how the things will happen in the real time. My intention is not about writing the code. My intention is to make you understand what is security, how objects will be maintained in the runtime, how they will be created. To make you an idea about that, I'm only showing this. I hope you guys are clear. Okay, so that's how the classes gets defined now. And what did I say? When you deploy, application development is completed here. When you want to deploy the application, we have 3 machines in action. What are the 3? First one, we have ATM machines. What is installed? Here, we install the UI. UI means user interface. And remember guys, this is lightweight. Is it lightweight? What is that is lightweight? Yes, guys, this user interface will be very lightweight. It won't have any heavy coding in that. It's just only a set of buttons to click, that's all, nothing more. No logic will be present here. Okay. So actually you have multiple ATM machines now. Now each customer will go to one ATM machine to do the transaction, right? So on this ATM machine, a customer came. Customer 1 swiped his card. The machine read the card ID. What is the card ID? 101. For example, I'm telling. Same way, another customer went to Are you clear? Another customer went to another ATM machine and trying to read it. And that is customer 2102, 103 like this. And in this process, what happens? Actually, nothing happens on the client on the ATM machine. Nothing happens on the ATM machine. What is the second computer? What server? Application server. The second one is application server. Here we install the business logic. That is the class. The class customer we defined. That contains all the logic in it to connect with the database, to update the database. Everything is present in that only. So we do it. So when a customer comes to an ATM, when a customer comes to an ATM and swipes the card, what will happen? There is a card reader on the machine. That's why you cannot swipe your card however you want. You need to swipe the card only in a particular direction, right? When you swipe that card, the card reader will read the customer ID and sends the customer ID to application server. And once it sends to the application server, what will application server doing for you know? The application server will now create the instance of the class. The application server will now create the instance of the class. The instance of the class will be created by the application server. Which class? New customer. Passing the customer ID. Who sent the customer ID? The ATM machine has sent the customer ID to application server. Application server receives it, creates the instance of the customer class, passing it. And already you know, in the constructor, you written the code for loading the data from the database now. Are you clear? So in the constructor, this code will execute and it will be loading you the data. Okay, just a minute. I'll read a comment here. Connects to database server and loads the customer details from there. This is what happens. There you'll write the database code now. That will connect to database now and will be loading you all the data from the database here. Are you people clear? Okay, so all the data will be loaded for you here. So like this, I can create one instance or multiple instances, any number of instances. For every customer that comes to an ATM machine, one instance will be created. Suppose the bank has a 10,000 ATM machines, 10,000 people are at a time using it, 10,000 instances are created by the server for you. Clear? And already we know the beauty of object-oriented programming. What is it? Objects are unique. The changes that we perform on the members of one object will never reflect to second. So every customer's data is unique. No one's data will be exchanged with another customer. My data is unique to me. It won't be exchanged with your data. Your data is unique to you, which won't be exchanged with my data. I hope you guys are clear. So internally behind the screen, what happens? The memory allocation is done for you like this. That's what. On the application server, instances are created, all the data loaded now. Got it? So this is what happens to you. This is what happens to you. Okay. And from where the data is loaded? The data is loaded from the database. Now what is the third mission I said you? Database server. Here we install all the tables we created for the application. As of now, we just have one table. Which table? Customer table. That's what. So these are three separate parts. Means in one transaction, three machines are participating. Do you understand me? In one transaction, three machines are participating to complete that work to you. Okay, the first one is the ATM machine, the second one is a application server, and the third one is a database server. We call these applications as distributed applications. Distributed applications are a three-tier or entire architecture. Three-tier or a entire architecture. Basically, the architecture will tell you the number of machines that are present here to complete a transaction. The number of machines that are participating to complete the transaction. How many machines are participating here? 3 machines are participating. Are you clear? Third, sometimes guys, sometimes if it is going to be any, if from one ATM, if at all you are trying to connect with any other bank's account, you can do now Visa, using Visa. You can just go for your SBI account holder, but you can withdraw money from HDFC Bank ATM. Possible, na? So basically in such scenarios, another server comes into action, that the Visa server. The Visa server. 3 more than 3. 3 more than 3. We call it as a entire architecture. Minimum 3. Not more than, not maximum, more than 3. Minimum 3 and more than 3 is called as what? Entire architecture. Architecture means the number of computers present in the work to complete a transaction. Are you clear? Yes or not? 3-tier or entire means the number of computers in action to complete your transaction. Here, how many computers are there for us? Minimum 3. If at all you are connecting with an external server, again there will be a Visa server. From the Visa server, they'll be connecting to the bank's server. That is going to be extra layers which will come into action. So that's called as entire architectures. Okay, now? Fine. Now, all these things are ready. Now tell me, now instances are created for the customers now. Using these instances, customers can do the transactions or not? Yes or not? But now we'll have a doubt. What is the doubt? Sir, instance is created on application server. Customer is standing on the ATM machine. When the instance is on the application server, using that instance, how can a customer perform a transaction on the ATM machine now? Understood? No expression on your face. That's why I'm asking you. Understood? What is that? Where is the instance created? Application server. Where are you standing? Instance is created somewhere. It means the food is in your home now and you want to eat in the classroom now. How, yeah, you put something somewhere there and you're asking me to do from here. Not possible, na? The instance creation is done where? Application server. Fine. Memory is allocated on the application server. If instance is created on the ATM machine, everything fine. But now, that is created on the application for security reasons. Last class I explained you. What is that? It is secured environment, a cloud environment, completely secured, which is completely firewall protection, antivirus secured, and also 24/7 monitoring. But nothing on the ATM. And you put everything there and you're telling me call the methods from here. How, sir? How this is possible now? Did you understand me or not? Yes or not? So this is not going to be possible here. This is not going to be possible for us in this case. Okay. Now, the question that arises here is, sir, then how these transactions will be completed? Okay. Listen, how these transactions are going to be completed. Basically, this is the place where references comes into picture. We learned about reference, remember? What is the reference? A reference is a pointer to an instance, no memory allocation for it. References are created based on instances. Clear? And reference works like a instance. We can do everything with a reference, just like a, but reference doesn't have any memory allocation at all. Correct? See, when you swipe your card, what happens first? Card machine will read the customer ID. Sends to application server. Application server, what is it doing? Creating the instance. When the instance is created, it is connecting to database, loading all the data from the database into application server. This is what I shown you already now. Yes or not? So already I just been explained about this particular thing to you. So the instance created and all the data is loaded up now. Okay, all data loaded. What next? After loading up all this particular information, guys, look, after loading up all this information here, what is the next thing that happens to, listen, it will create a reference for each instance now. It will create a reference for each instance, and that references are sent back to the client computer. Watch the picture. What is happening? The three client machines are receiving a reference. For example, for C1, the reference is R1, pointing to C1. Any changes on R1 reflects to C1. Are you clear? R1 changes won't reflect to C2R. R1 is a pointer to C1. So changes on R1 reflects to C1. Changes on R2 reflects to C2. Changes on R3 reflects to C3. Server is creating an instance, memory allocation done. Now a reference is created and the reference is sent back to the client. And what do you receive, you know? After you swipe the card, your computer will receive a reference of that instance. It will receive a reference of that instance now. The references will be coming back to you. The references will be coming back to you. These references will sit on the client computer and will be pointing to server. And you already know that you can call methods on a reference now. If I call a method on the reference, execution takes place on the client computer, server computer. If I call a method using the reference, execution takes place on the client computer, server computer. Server only. Why? Where memory allocated? Yeah. Memory allocated on the server. How can it execute on the client? Only thing is, from here we are pointing to there. We are only pointing to there. That's all. This is a reference. The reference points to the server. So you call a method here, but finally it will go to server and executes on the server. That's what I said here. Nothing happens on the client. That's a security threat. Clear? Everything should happen only on the server. So these references will be pointing to server and you can start calling the methods. Now, the first person here clicked on the deposit button. The first person, assume, clicked on the deposit button. When he clicked on the deposit button, what happened? The machine asked like how much amount you want to deposit. 3,000. And when you click on the OK button, it will ask you denomination. You deposited in the ATM anytime, it will ask you the denomination. You will enter the denomination. And once you click on the OK, in the bottom a chamber opens where you put your money. Correct? After putting your money and click on the confirm, what it will do? It will read it and it will show you the denomination correct or not, and you click on the confirm button. Are you clear? The logic in the confirm button is R1 dot deposit. R1 dot deposit, and the amount is how much amount you have given there, 3,000. Now immediately goes to server for execution. The method is defined in the class. Deposit method. What did you write in the deposit method? See? Louder here. Louder. Sound is not coming out. Balance plus equals to amount. What is your balance? 5,000. Plus equals to amount. How much it is? 8,000. Next. Update to the database. Now it will go to database server. Who will connect? Application server will connect to database server and updates the balance there. Updates the balance there. Okay. So with this, the transaction is completed. With this, the transaction is completed. Success message is returned to ATM and the instance is destroyed on the server. The instance is destroyed on the server. Why is there? I want to do one more transaction. You cannot do. Have you checked out in the ATM machine? You can do only one transaction at a time. If you want to do second transaction, you need to start everything from the first again. Again, you're required to swipe the card. Again, you're required to punch the PIN number. Again, you're required to do your transaction. How many transactions are allowed? One and only one. Are you clear? Now, the second customer came there to withdraw. He clicked on the withdraw button. System asked, how much amount you want to withdraw? He said that I want to withdraw 4,000 rupees. And he clicked on confirm button. And the logic of the confirm button, you know, R2 dot withdraw. How much? Now the logic executes now. What is the logic you implemented? Say 15,000 minus 4,000. How much? 11,000. Update the balance back to database table based on the customer ID. Go update it now. How much? 11,000. Updated. Okay, done. What next? Object destroyed. The next thing is that only. Destroy the instance. Now the third customer came to perform a funds transfer. He entered he clicked on the funds transfer. System asked, tell me the destination ID. You typed it and clicked on OK. Then it asks you how much amount you want to perform a transfer. 5,000. Click on confirm button. So the logic is R3 dot, what is the method name? Funds transfer. First one is to whom you want to transfer. Suppose the customer entered 104. Second, how much you want to transfer. You entered 5,000. Click on confirm button. The logic executes. See the logic. Balance minus means it referring to the current customer. Remember now 103. If 25,000 minus 5,000. How much? 20,000. Next, it will update it to the database. How much it will update? 20,000. Updated to 20,000. And but watch there are two updates there. Second update will update, add the balance to the target. 104 makes it 40,000. Completed the transaction, object is destroyed. Once the transaction completed, the object will be destroyed on the server. These objects will not stay for the long time. These objects will not be staying for the long time. Why, sir? Security reason again. That is again the security reason. What is that? See, even though servers run in a firewall, there are people who can hack the servers also. There are people who can hack the servers. Hackers are very intelligent and highly talented. They can break the firewall or security of any server if you give them some time. If you give them some time. But time should be given. Without time, you cannot just ask him do it immediately. Fraction of seconds that cannot be done. Time should be given. If you give time, they can hack. And that time, application server is not giving to you now. What application server is not giving? See guys, earlier when ATM machines came in India, I remember when I'm in schooling, where the ATM machines came in India, I still remember this guys. What you know? These ATM machines used to allow performing multiple transactions. Multiple transactions. How many transactions? As many transactions you want. Once you swipe your card, you'll do your transaction. Once after completing the transaction, it used to ask you, what you know? Do you wish to end the transaction? Yes button. One more transaction. Completed? Yes button. Like this, you can do multiple transactions. When you do multiple transactions, what is the problem, you know? This object stays for a long time on the server. This object stays for a long time on the server. And what did I say? ATM machines are not secured here. Anyone can easily hack an ATM machine. So once a hacker can hack an ATM machine and gets the reference with this reference, he can hit the firewall and enter the server now. Did you catch my point or not? With the reference, he can hack the server and break the firewall and enter into the server and manipulate all the things on the server. What do you mean? What do you mean by virus here? See, basically virus hacking. What will they do? What is a virus? A virus is a warm body like like what do you affect in your for us? A virus is a living object. The virus, what do we affect? Cold, this COVID, all these are living objects. This particular living object will be completely spoiling our lifestyle. It will completely spoil our internal parts, damage. What happens in COVID here? The COVID basically, it affects your lungs. It affects your lungs, which will cause you the breathing problem to you. Okay? And because of that, people gets hospitalized, oxygen requirement. If everything is fine, it gets cured. Otherwise, we saw in the COVID time, we lost many of your people. Okay? So basically, when you talk about a computer virus, what is a computer virus? A computer virus is a program. This program will come now and corrupt the system. What is hacking? Hacking is, that is also people breaking the firewalls, entering into the server and manipulating the data. They just completely try to manipulate the data. They will steal the information. They will steal the information. So now, if the time given, hackers can, what they do? They can use these references now, and with the references, they can break the server's firewalls and enter into the server and manipulate the data there. So this is the danger. So that time should not be given. That time should not be given. That is why within no time, these instances are destroyed. Suppose, say, if it gives you multiple transactions now, it's a very hot summer. It's a very hot summer. It's very hot outside. So what you thought is, let me go into you have an ATM machine near you and that has a good AC. You thought like, okay, let me enter the ATM machine, enjoy the AC for some time. So you went there, you put your card now, you just clicked on the balance inquiry. It asked you another transaction. Yes, another transaction. After that, another transaction, it was just going to ask you like, do you wish to continue? Okay. So what happens? It just connects to the database. Sorry, what I'm telling you, completed your transaction, you got a balance inquiry. Now you're taking a mini statement, you clicked on S button, taken a mini statement. Now again it asked you to use to continue. Yes, you clicked on the S button, withdraw 100 rupees. Then you clicked on the S button, transferred 50 rupees from your account, from your friend's account. You're enjoying the AC. That's what you're doing there. But see here, you are wasting your time there, correct? Yes or not? And the object stays for a long time on the server to do all this transaction. Hacker has a lot of time. Have a cup of coffee, sit relaxed and hack your data. So that time is not given right now. That time is not given right now. Have you noticed any time? Swipe your card, enter the PIN number, don't do any transaction, stand like that. Within few seconds, it will show you operation terminated. Transaction terminated. Yes or not? Within few seconds, if you don't respond immediately, these transactions are going to be terminated. So not giving any chance for hacking the people, hacking the data by hacking the data. Are you clearer or not? Okay, that's why. See, if there are multiple reasons why today multiple transactions are not allowed on the ATM machines. One reason is what I said you. Second reason why multiple transactions are not allowed, you know. See, when multiple transactions are allowed, at that time the system is used to function in a different way. You insert your card, the card is completely taken by the machine. The card goes into the machine completely. But today the card is not going to the machine. You insert the card and using, or you're swiping. Earlier used to be a swipe system, but now they changed it. What is it? You put the card, after completing the transaction, you pull back the card. Every time they'll change like this. They'll be changing the systems like this, so that giving less chances for others to understand the process and hack the things. Okay. So earlier there used to be, the card completely used to go into the machine. So you do all the transactions. After completing all the transactions, the card used to come out. The card used to come out. Until then, you cannot take the card also. When you say, no, I don't want to do any transaction, then the card will come out. So what is the main problem the banking system faced here, you know? I inserted my card here. The card went inside. I started doing my transactions. I started doing my transactions now. And I just said, do you want to continue on the transaction? No, I said. But for some reason, the card got stuck in the machine. Can happen here. We cannot guarantee every time it won't happen. The card stuck in the machine. My card is inside the machine, guys. See now, what is the situation? You went to another city. All the money in your pocket is exhausted. You have sufficient amount in your bank now. Okay, all the money on your pocket is exhausted. So you have an ATM card. You thought you went to an ATM to withdraw the money. You put the ATM card in the machine. The card got stuck in the machine. Now your situation is, stand on the platform now. Card in the machine, no money in the pockets. You can't do anything now. Yes or not? This is the second reason why the multiple transactions are blocked. Cards get stuck up in the machine. So what is the situation, you know? These cards, all these cards, what will they do? they will be submitting to the nearest branch. Nearest branch next day, when the ATMs open, they'll pick all the cards and submit there. Once all they're submitted, you're required to go to the bank, show your ID card, confirm your account and collect your cards. This is the process. And basically, guys, this happened on Friday evening. This happened, my card got stuck up in the machine on Friday evening. I'm in Delhi. My card stuck up in the ATM machine on the Friday evening. Saturday, Sunday, holiday. For some reason, Monday is also holiday. What do you do these 3 days now? Will you stand and wait in Delhi to collect your card now? See the headache. The card completely gets stuck up there. This is a problem. Third issue, what they face, these are all the real-time problems what faced by the banking industry, and they started changing accordingly now. What is the third problem? Third problem is, you went in ATM now, you put your card now, you're withdrawing your money, you got a phone call. You got a phone call from your dear ones, someone. You forgot the environment. You started talking in the phone now. You just entered some withdrawal, some amount of withdrawal. You got it. You're just completely concentrating on your phone call. You forget your environment, what is happening also. You got the money, taken the money, left the ATM. Forgetting your card. Forgetting about your card. You left it. Okay. Now I'm standing behind you now. I entered. By the time I enter, the system is asking me one thing. What do you wish to continue? Yes, I wish to continue. I click on the yes button. That's not my card. I'll click on yes button. I clicked on a balance inquiry. It said there is 50,000 rupees in the account. Okay. Now I'll go with a withdrawal now and I'll withdraw the money now. Are you clear? So to overcome all these problems only, the systems kept on changing continuously, giving you an option to do only one transaction at a time. Are you clear? So all these things are completely restricted now. Single transactions only what we can do. See, earlier guys, credit cards used to be. Credit cards earlier, you swipe the card enough, the transaction completed. So what is the problem? If someone loses the card, you're over. If you lose your card somewhere and you have a credit limit of 1 lakh now, you lost your card now. You did not recognize someone. Where you lost your card, you did not recognize that. So now I got your card, I can do all the transaction. To secure, to restrict that only today, they introduced another additional thing like a PIN. But earlier when credit cards said their pins are not there, you give the card, swipe the card, finish, over. No PIN entering at all. I'll ask my card somewhere, someone can use my card without any problem, without any blocks. But now the PIN system got introduced. What are they saying? If you just enter the amount or swipe the card, that's not enough. Compulsory, you're required to go for PIN. Are you clear? So today, they introduced the wave option also. What is that? On your ATM card, you'll have a chip. Notice that? No need to swipe the card. If you put it on that, but that is also dangerous now. That is also dangerous. That's why to restrict that, the minimum amount there is very much less. 2,500 or 3,000. Like wave option, you cannot just go for using, say, if you go, you swipe, you wave your card near the ATM machine, over. But much amount is not given. Only 2,000, 3,000 only we can do. You cannot do big value transaction. Big value transaction, compulsory, you're required to swipe and enter the PIN. See, day one, no one knows the problems here. Going forward, we understand the problems, and based on the problems, we'll try to design much more better systems. Are you clearer? Understood? So did you understand the process, how the systems will run in the real time now? So in this, did you understand what is the need of creating an instance? Yes or not? Instance represents one customer now. And did you understand the need of creating multiple instances? Every instance is one customer. You understood the security there? You understood about references? I said about references, but I did not tell you what is the need of a reference for you. But today I practically I explained to you what is the need of a reference. Why do you need a reference? Are you clear? Okay. Next, you understood about the need of a constructor? Come on. Constructor initializing, what coding will be there? You understood what is the need of a method? Constructors are for initialization. Methods are for action performing. Every member in the class has a different work to do. Every member in the class has a different work to do. Fields are for holding the values. Constructors are for initializing them. Methods are for performing actions. Every member will have an appropriate work to do there. So that's what you understand. That's why multiple members are there. So every member will do a different work. Every member will do a different work. See, in a company, different people will be there. Clerks will be there. Managers are there. Accountant is there. Every person is going to do a separate work. Will the manager clean the office? Tell me, will the manager clean the office? Or will the clerk sign on the checkbook? That's what. Every have a defined set of rules there. Every member here also has a different set of rules. And they do according to the rules what are defined. So 3 members will learn. Still 5 members are there. We'll talk about them also, guys. But you are clear with the 3 members and what they're doing now? Yes or not? Okay. And you understood about constructor initializing? Constructor making your class dynamic. Constructor making your class dynamic. And the initialization process, you don't require to initialize each and every field. If you pass the key value, rest of the other things comes from the database. Other things will come from the database. So like this, everything. So these are the concepts what I explained to you from the last 10 days, guys. After starting object-oriented programming, these are what I explained to you, all the things I put together, and I explained you this in the form of a case study. I hope everything is clear. Okay, one more thing is there here. Let us complete that also. What is it? Look at this one. We have 3 fields in the class. We have 3 fields in our class, right? What are the 3? Customer ID, name, balance. Customer ID, name and balance. Apart from that, I want to declare some more fields, guys. One field to store the name of the bank to whom I am developing the application now. One field to store the name of the bank to whom I am developing the application. Public string, bank name. Suppose I am developing an application for a bank, ICICI Bank Limited. Okay. One field to count the number of transactions performed on the server. To count the number of transactions performed. See, in the YouTube, you have the view count. YouTube video have a view count. Same way, I want to find out the count, the number of transactions that are performed on the server. So to do that, what I'm doing here, I'm going to declare one field here, public long. I'm taking a long, bigger size. Count is equals to 0, initialized with 0. Now we'll come to the constructor, and the constructor I'll say count plus equals to 1. Sir, you want to count the number of transactions now? Yes, I want to count the number of transactions. But tell me, can you do a transaction without creating an instance? Come on. You cannot do a transaction without creating an instance, no? Mandatory to create an instance or not? How many transactions can you do with one instance? One only, na? So if you count the number of construct times constructor call, that is the number of transactions performed now. That's all. There is no conflict at all. Are you clear? If you can find out the number of instances created, that is nothing but the number of transactions performed. That's why I incremented the count in the constructor, telling that every time this constructor call, increment the count. Increment the count. Are you clear? So totally how many fields are there? 5 are there here. 5. Okay, now we have 5 fields. Now tell me. Day before yesterday, you learned about types of fields in a class. Static, constant, read only, non-static. Are you clear? Now, just look at the characteristics, look at this picture and try to analyze yourself and tell me. Customer ID is which type? Statica, constanta, read only or non-statica? Customer ID, non-static. Why? The answer is right, non-static. Why? Why non-static? Correct. Louder. Someone said louder. Yeah. Why you feel afraid and shy? Separate copy for each instance. Separate copy for each instance. Static means won't create you separate copy for each instance. Static means only one copy for all. But you have a separate copy for each instance. Correct? Now that is right. But just non-static is the wrong answer. Separate copy for each instance. Your guess is right. But non-static is the wrong answer. Tell me what is the other one which has separate copies for each instance. One is non-static. Second one? Read only. Yeah, that should be read only. You can't modify customer ID. Nah? Can you modify customer ID? So that is read only. That should be a read only field. Public read only. And remember, read only fields can be initialized in the constructor. That's what I explained you now. Check it out. Where are you initializing the customer ID? Constructor cannot be modified again. You can't manipulate that again. Yeah, cannot. Can you go to ATM and change your customer ID? Yeah, not possible. Nah? Second, name. Perfect. Read only. Why? Name also cannot be modified. I cannot go to a bank and I cannot modify the name now. That is also read only. Remember, multiple copies. When you have multiple copies, we have only two options there. What are the two options? Read only, non-static. That's all. We should not think about static and constant at all here. Okay, now? Next. Balance. Perfect. Non-static. Why? Modifiable. Yeah, balance is modifiable. Yeah. We go idiom working with balance only now. That is modifiable. So that is a non-static. Now, this is the thing. I did not show you here. Now I'm leaving to you now. Come on, tell me. Bank name. It is a constant. Perfect. Constant. Yeah. First thing, when I initialized on the line only, you should understand that. That is a constant. Why, sir? Why will bank name change? Bank name is same for all. You're an SBI customer, went to ICICI Bank. Will ICICI Bank name change now? Or will the ATM slip, transaction slip show you as SBI? That is ICICI only. You can do your transaction there, but nothing changes. Bank is same only. Are you people clear? That's a constant. Perfect. Next, count. Count is a wrong answer. It is static here. Count means counting all the people. Yes or not? Or will you maintain count for separately for each one? What is meant by counting? Counting means, see, you have some 30-40 people in the classroom. What is meant by counting? 1, 2, 3, 4. That is how I should count. Yes or not? Or for everyone I'll say 1. If it is non-static, what will happen, you know? Recollect yourself. Non-static means one copy or multiple copies? Multiple copies. Means under every instance, one copy will be there. And you remember that now changes of one instance will not reflect to second instance now. If count is 1 in the first instance, count will be 1 only in the second instance also. Count will be 1 only in the third. You create 1000 instances also. What is the count value? 1. It won't change. That only asked you. You're 40-50 people in the classroom. If everyone is changing your 1, how many people are there? How do I know? Understood? See, you have student numbers in the classroom. Roll number 1, roll number 2, like this. If all are 1, how do you know there are number of people? Understood? Count should be multiple copies or single copy. Louder. Single copy. Count cannot be multiple copies. Count should be single copy. Modifiable or non-modifiable? That is where we just go for using. Watch the picture now. Everything is before you. Are you clear? Static. Listen, static. Count is static. When the execution starts, static is initialized with its value 0 now. Why? Because I've given 0 on the top C. Are you clear? First customer came now. Constructor called. Count becomes 1. Second customer came. Count becomes 2. Third customer came. Count becomes 3. Million customer came. Count becomes million. Understood? If at all you are going to not declare it static now, I did not declare static, I left it like this. What happens, you know? Anytime you see count, it will be 1 only. Because changes of one instance won't reflect to second instance. This is the place where static comes into picture. Are you clear? For all instances, static and constant are 1 copy. Bank name is same for all and count is same for all. You're counting all customers only here. That's what you're forgetting. You're counting. Means this should affect all the instances you create. So these two are going to be this one. Bank name, non-modifiable. Count, modifiable. Again, customer ID and name, non-modifiable. Balance, modifiable. Okay, till now the first three what you guessed is correct. What is that? Read only, non-static, and constant. You missed with the static only. Okay, but I hope you understood now what is static now. Yeah, yesterday also someone again telling, sir, give me example for static. That's what static is. That's what static is. Here I should declare it as static. I did not declare AI. I asked you what should I declare, and now I'm changing everything. So this is read only. This is read only. I did not specify anything there. If I don't specify non-static, non-static, default is non-static. Yeah, don't tell anything non-static. Next, constant. Now you understood the 4 different categories of the variables now. Sorry, 4 different types of fields, and you need to declare them according to the requirements. I cannot tell you use constants or use statics or use read only. What tells you? The scenario tells you. Did you catch my point? The scenario tells you whether you should use a constant there or a static there or a read only there. I cannot tell. I will only give you the guidelines. What guidelines? If this is the situation, use this. That's it. Okay now. So this is all about the 2 things what I covered till now. What are the 2 things, you know? Encapsulation and abstraction. What is it? You're writing your code inside a class. Encapsulation. Abstraction. Yes, end user don't know what is the logic. Click on the button, do the transaction. That's all. That's what I explained you on the day. Abstraction. Go to your car, start the car, drive the car. How the engine works, I don't know. So the ATM, the user of the ATM, does he know how the ATM works? Do you know? Do you know till now? Do you know till now there is an application server, there is a database server. Your application is, your ATM is connecting to application server. On the application server, the logic is executing, connecting to database server. Do you know all these things till now? What you thinking here? Till now you are thinking ATM is directly connecting up to database or not? Everyone will think the same thing till now. ATM is connecting up to database and getting my data. That's what. If you have a knowledge on database, if you don't have knowledge on database, that also you don't know. Yes or not? So basically, if you have any basic knowledge of software, everyone understands all data will be stored on a database. And what we think, ATMs directly connecting to database now and pulling the data. But no guys, it won't happen. There is a application server in the middle. That is where all the logic gets executed. That's the important point. From there only everything will be controlled. Are you clearer or not? These are cloud servers. These are cloud servers. Complete secured environment. Okay. So that's basically the 2 things. Encapsulation and abstraction. What is the third one? Inheritance. The third one is inheritance. Let's start with the inheritance now. Let us start with the inheritance now. Guys, this one I said you, I just explained you on my own interest as a case study for you to make you understand about all the things. All these particular things. We don't have an implementation for this. But guys, going forward, when we build web applications and all, we will write all this code there and I'll show you. Are you clear? So I promise I'll show you these particular applications in MVC. When we learn the web application development with MVC, I will write all this particular code step by step in where I should write what, where I should write what, I'll show you, and we will design all the things and do it. Clearer? Huh? I did not give any notes for this, but I given the notes for entities. I given the notes for entity. What is an entity? I explained you in the last class. Entity means any living or non-living object associated with a set of attributes is what we call as entities. And the 4 steps. First step, identify the entities. Second step, identify the attributes. Third step, identify the attributes. Third step is creating a database. And in this, create the tables representing the entities. All these things I said you. Okay, and afterwards, developing our application. Developing our application. Everything, all these particular points I just listed for you over there. Entity and all the things. School application, business application. Second step, identifying the attributes, designing a database, and then designing an application by using any programming language of our choice, which should act as a UI between the end user and databases in managing the data present under database by adopting the guidelines. What is it? Every entity is a class. You have done it. Our entity is a customer class. Second one, attributes entities or properties, nothing but fields. Third one, records. To represent the records, create the instances. Create the instances. Just now we saw 3 instances created now. And all these things manually done here, but tomorrow everything happens dynamic. Everything happens dynamic. Server will create the instance to you. You won't go and write on the code on the server when the customer comes. You don't go and write code, create in customer C1 is equals to. Who will do that? Server will do that for you. Server will be creating the instances. For every new customer, one instance creation will be done by the server. Hope it's clear? Yes or not? Okay. So that's what. Yeah, guys. Why we add comment in class? Really? What is this question here? Why we add comment in class? Why you add comment in your class is to understand your code here. Tomorrow, see, that's what I said you earlier. Today I say you something, tomorrow you put blank faces and you're forgetting everything. And 1 month back or 1 year back, you come and look into your project. Do you know what will happen there? Do you know what did you write there? That's why we write comments in the code. That's why we write comments in the class. Second reason, you written some code. You have just used some logic and written some comments. Sorry, you written some code. You love the company. Someone came in your place. How will you understand your code? Tell me. How will you understand the code written by me? You don't know, na? So that's why we write comments. We write the comments to say this is what happening on each and every step. Okay, so that the next people can easily understand the code and go through it in the next stages. What code? These particular files you want me to post? If you want, I'll post it. If you want, I'll post it. Okay, but I did not give any explanation. But if you want these files, I can post you in the Google Classroom. Okay, I'll do it. Fine. Okay. Now let's talk about the third thing. What is the third thing? Inheritance. Inheritance. The third thing is going to be inheritance. What is inheritance? Just a second. I'm also putting the image what I shown you now. Desktop. Yeah, the image what I shown you about the 4 different fields I shown you now, that also I posted. Okay. Okay. So what is the third one we're talking about? Inheritance. What is this inheritance? Inheritance is a process, guys. What is it? It is a process of consuming the members that are defined in one class from another class. Are you clear? It is a process of consuming the members that are defined in one class from another class. You can consume the members of one class in another class basically. That is what we call as inheritance. Is it clear, all of you? So what we can do? We can consume the members of one class from another class by establishing parent-child relationship between the classes. Parent-child relationship between the classes. You know, guys, already we talked on this particular point. What is that? All the property of the parents belongs to their children. Correct? All the property of the parents belongs to their children. So because all the properties of the parents belongs to children, when we establish a parent-child relationship between the classes, what happens now? The parents' properties are directly available to children for consuming. So child class here, talking about it, the child class can directly consume the parent class members. The child class can directly consume the parent class members. See, we raised up this question earlier, remember? Can you drive your father's car as if you're the owner of the car? Yes or not? That's what the same point here also. Child class can consume the members of the parent class as if it is the owner of those members. As if it is the owner of those members, it can consume that. That's called as inheritance. And if you remember, I shown you one picture also there. I already shown you this picture to you. Class 1, a set of members. Class 2, inheriting from that parent-child relationship. So what class 2 can do? Consume the members of class 1. Class 2 can consume the members of class 1 here. So directly in the class 2, you have a chance to consume the members of the class 1. Are you people clearer? Yes or not? So this is what we call as inheritance. Consuming the members that are defined in one class from another class by establishing a parent-child relationship between the classes is what we are calling it as inheritance. Okay, now? No confusions now? Okay, so you can consume the members of one class from another class. The relationship is a parent-child relationship, what we are going to establish. Okay, good. We have just been understood how to perform this one. Fine. Now, all of you understand. How to establish this relationship now? The question will be how to establish the relationship. Very simple process here. Class 1. Define members here. Define members here. This is my class 1. Now, class 2. Should inherit from? Simple process. Class 2, colon. That's all. That's all. Nothing more than that. Simply say colon, write the class name, and come here. You use any word there. You can call it as a parent class. You can call it as a base class. You can call it as a super class. Whatever you say. No props. Okay. Consume members of class 1 from here. You're going to consume the members of class 1 from here. That's what you're doing. Okay. And very importantly, a child class can consume the members of its parent class as if it is owner of those members, except private members. Read again. A child class can consume the members of its parent class as if it is the owner of those members. This only we talked. We can use anything that belongs to our parents as if we are the owner, except private members. What is that? Except private members. Except private members means here, you need to understand. Except private members in the sense, what do you know? In the future, you can take all the money that has been earned by your parents, correct? You take all the money earned by your parents, right? Money, properties, business, jewelry, everything. Yes or not? You take everything. You are the owner, you just take. Same way, can you take your father's job also? Tell me. Yes, sir. You can take your father's job. Your father, based on his qualification, is a district collector here. You just complete your graduation and ask him, you retire, I'll take your job now. If they give you a job, they'll give you a job as a clerk in the office. That's all, not as a district collector. Okay? And that too, worst case, if anything happens to the parent, then they give the job to the children. But don't forget, like, if anything happens wrong, they give the job, but not the same position. You can't take the position. Got the point? So there are something which are private to your parents which cannot be acquired. What are those things? His qualification, his job. Are you getting me? There are something which are private to your parents which cannot be acquired by the children. Which cannot be acquired by the children. That's what I said here. You cannot take your father's qualification here. You cannot take his certificate now and tell me, this is my father, I am also a qualified doctor. No. Okay? And that is private. Same way, job. These things are private, which cannot be inherited. That's what you understood now, except private members. Private members they are specific to the parent and that are not inherited to the children. They are specific to the parent, which are not inherited to the children. Are you clear? So how the syntax will be means modifiers, class, tell me, what is PC name? Parent class name. What is CC name? Wrong, na? Then you're saying PC means PC parent class name, but no one is saying it is wrong now until I ask. Child class name. That's what I'm telling you. Be alert in the classroom. Whatever I type, don't think right only. You have to use your sense also. So I typed it wrong. That is child class name first, followed by the parent class. Modifiers you already learned. Modifiers we already learned, but we did not discuss. We did not still consume them. Modifiers are keywords. We'll talk here. We are going to come across so many keywords going forward. Okay? We did not still go through them, but we know modifiers. Class, the name of your class. Colon, the name of the parent class. A simple process. Class 2, colon, class 1. Are you clear? Okay. Any example for a private member? Sir, every member is private only. Yeah. I said you very clearly. Again, you are asking any example. Your father's job, it is private to him. You can't acquire. Same way, there will be something private to a class, a private field that cannot be inherited by the children. So we'll see that. Wait for everything. Don't worry off. Yeah. Now, we just got a conclusion like what is inheritance and how to do it. A very simple process. You can just define two simple classes and you can start inheriting one class to the other. For example, here I'm just going to add a class. I did not change the name here. I left it as class 1. I left it as class 1. Now in this class, I just wanted to define a method. Public void test1. Console dot write line. Simple code I'm giving. What is that? Method 1. That's it. Method 1. Same way, public void test2 console.writeLine method 2. Now guys, till now you learned creating the instance of this class and calling the methods, right? Till now you learned creating the instance of the class and calling the methods, and that instance can be created in the same class, the instance can be created in another class. You saw both the two things, correct? Now I am going to call these methods without creating the instance of this class. Now I am going to call these methods without creating the instance of the class 1. Do you understand my point? But till date, to call the members, you created instance from the last 10 days, right? Without creating an instance, I'll call the members now. Watch. My second class, what is it? Class 2. Okay, in class 2, I want to consume the members of class 1. If that is the case, one option already I explained you. What is that? Create instance of class 1. That's old story. Array, create instance of class 1. That's old story. But I don't want that. Okay, second option. Don't create the instance of the class 1. Come here. Inherit the class 1. Inherit the class 1. Now come here. Create the instance of class 2, not class 1. And you can call the methods c dot test1 and c dot test2. That's it. Console dot read line. Which class to run? See there. Did you create the instance of class 1 anywhere? But still you will be able to call the methods of the class 1 now. Once I do inheritance, that's what I said to you. All the members of the parent class will be inherited to child class. Will be inherited to the child class. Are you clearer? See, if the parents expire for some reason, immediately the child will acquire all the rights on the properties now. Am I right? Business, everything. Immediately they will get the rights on that. So we don't require to worry because that's a law which tells you directly they're accessible to the child. Just a minute here. It's taking time to compile. Sometimes it happens, may not respond fast. Array, normal program also, not about inheritance. Got it? So taking to compile there, that's a, it's a normal program, anything, no issue at all. Okay. So it's not about inheritance. That's a problem with Studio because background, it will be doing a lot of activities. It may not show the output immediately. It may take the time. Don't worry about that. Okay, fine. So are you clear with inheritance or not? Is it simple and easy? Remember, 2 ways to consume a class from other classes. 1, creating an instance. We already saw that now. 2, inheritance. Now I shown you. Are you clear? This is a simple process here. No need to bother much about it. Very easy. But to work with inheritance, we need to understand a set of rules now. A set of rules. There are 6 important rules what you require to understand in inheritance. How many? 6 important rules are there what you require to understand in the inheritance. Okay, I'll tell you all these rules in the next class. Let's stop here. We'll meet on Monday.